I wanted to ask Mr. Kendall a question. I did watch you on the social dilemma, that wonderful documentary. And one of the things that you talked about is that platforms are able to actually tweak algorithms for whatever they need. I know maybe that's the ammonia factor that you were talking about, like with the tobacco companies. And so they can manipulate those things. But what I really wanted to get to is, what are the things you're saying? I mean, I've heard apology after apology from Mr. Zuckerberg. I mean, ad nauseum. And oh, too bad about the genocide in Myanmar. We missed that. Sorry. Oops. But the kinds of things that we can do. And I want to ask you about 230. The clause that allows for protecting these media companies from any kind of liability. At least that's the way it's been interpreted. How important is it for us to change that? And I also wanted then to ask Mr. Ginsburg to respond to that. 230.
Congresswoman, thank you. I think it's critically important. I'm not exactly sure where to draw the lines, and from the standpoint that I do think Section 230 was instrumental in allowing some of these companies at the outset to innovate and create these platforms in the first place. But I do think at a certain size, these technology platforms do become media companies, and I think at that point need to be treated as such.
Thank you. And could I also hear, did he leave?
Yeah, no, I'm
still here. Oh, there you are. Okay. Yeah.
Madam Chairman, the fact is Section 230 has been, has in effect, been the beneficiary of $33 million in lobbying effort by social media companies to avoid it being amended in Congress. That would remove its liability, remove their immunity from content liability. They even went so far as shoving Section 230 onto the USMCA in order to make it more difficult for Congress to amend it. There's no doubt in my mind and in the mind of most people who've examined this that without removing the content immunity granted under Section 230, these companies will never assume the type of obligation that you, the members of Congress, need to have them assume.
I thank you for that. Is this one of the most important, or are there other, just a couple more that we should add to the list of things we should be considering?
I'd also would just make one more recommendation. In the absence of an amendment to Section 230, I do think that the Congress should consider how to encourage the advertising industry to do more, to leverage their influence, to insist that social media companies do more, because these advertising industries companies are interested in brand safety. Well, brand safety is going out the window the more radicalization occurs. And so they need to do more, and they need to step up.
Mr. Kendall, do you have a last advice to us too?
Well, I really like Mr. Ginsburg's point about, look, let's definitely hold the technology companies accountable, but let's also look at who's paying the technology companies, and I think they bear some responsibility. So I think the advertising industry can certainly help affect change.
Right. Well, thank you.